Heyo, you're tuning into Toasted Time, where I cook your time with some Reddit stories. Right now we've got Am I the A, where OP, who is an adult, doesn't want to give a baby blanket to a baby sister. What? Our first story is by Haunting Wait. My great-grandma made a baby blanket for me when my mom was pregnant. She did that for all her kids, grandkids, and then great-grandkids. I was the youngest until now. Great-grandma would make it very clear to the parents involved that the baby she made the blankets for should be considered the owner's and it shouldn't be something they kept away from us. So this is what has always happened. I always had mine. My parents did try and take it away from me a few times, but great-grandma stepped in each time. I loved mine because she had started experimenting with her knitting, and my blanket is more unique than the rest and feels just a little more personal. I treasure it despite being a 17-year-old guy. I treasure it more because great-grandma passed away when I was 10 and I miss her like crazy. So, my parents couldn't have more kids for years. They tried for years and even did IVF when I was just 7, but didn't have another kid from it. Their focus being so set on that, I always felt like I wasn't good enough. This is something extended family brought to their attention a few times. It was comments like, "I just want a baby so bad, I can't imagine my life without a child," from my mom, and comments from my dad like, "We feel so incomplete without a baby," that would get family members to take notice. Those were just some of the comments that left me feeling as I do. It was never another baby. It was always a baby. Like I was invisible. They talked about having a baby being their biggest dream. It stung so much to have their life focused around that, and they'd get so depressed about not having a baby. Great-grandma, before she passed away, told them to be thankful for the blessing, aka me, and how they already had a baby and they were letting me grow up without them. It didn't change anything. And I did basically grow up without having my parents. They have no idea who my friends are or what is going on in my life. And then this was a surprise pregnancy, and my parents are so excited. They did all the early tests to find out they're having a girl, and they started shopping and all kinds of stuff for her. But then my mom got sad because great-grandma isn't around to knit her a blanket too. So they told me they wanted mine. They didn't ask, just told me. And when I said no, they grew angry. They said she deserves to have a blanket from great-grandma and their baby needs one. I asked what I was, and they said, "An almost grown man." I left the blanket with my best friend because I was afraid the parents would search my house to find it. They were so pissed and they started doing the guilt trip saying my baby sister deserves better and how I can look at myself in the mirror knowing I don't want to share this with her. They told me it's like I don't even want her to exist or I hate her or something, and she's not even born yet. Am I the A? No, OP, you're not the A. And I don't know, maybe that's just a guess. You guys can let me know down in the comments, but something tells me that when the daughter grows up, they're also going to treat her as if she doesn't exist as well, and they're going to try for another baby, because these are the types of parents that just like the pregnancy, but they don't like the actual caring for a kid. Because after having OP, they just said, "All right, off to school, have a good one, have a good life, have a good rest of your lifetime, because we ain't gonna talk to you." Like, they don't want to be parents, they just want to have a pregnancy. That's it. I feel bad for the daughter. I don't think she's going to grow up in a loving household. I think she's going to live in a neglectful household. But you guys can let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with that. Anywho, continuing on to the comments. Not the A. The blanket is yours. It was smart of you to give it to a friend for now. Do not give up. It is heartwarming. It means so much to you. It means so much. I think a part of the reason it means so much is because it makes me feel wanted. Like great-grandma loved me, and that blanket is an expression that I never feel or get with my parents. I think they deserve to hear this. They won't listen, even if I tell them. Hang on to it. She made it for you, and maybe one day in the future you can pass it on to your child and tell them about this special person who was so talented she made you this blanket. Keep it safe at your friends. Best of luck. And now, our next Reddit post is by Goodface. I've been married to my husband Rob for 4 years now. My husband's late wife passed away 1 year before we met, and we dated for 2 years before marriage. He has 2 kids, 28 Madison and 26 Brett. Note, I am not calling them my stepkids because they explicitly told me I am not their stepmom, just their dad's wife. I didn't play a part in raising them, so I'm okay with that. It has always been a bit tense between us, and I've tried my best to be kind with them, and have been generous when I can be, but they are very cold with me. Being a child of divorce, I can partially relate to a parent moving on, so I try not to force anything. And so the story goes. Madison recently got engaged, and we're excited about it. Everyone was over recently, and she asked about a wedding budget from us, and Rob told her that he was able to contribute $10,000. She had bigger hopes for her wedding than this, so she was upset and kept asking for more. Rob, however, is still working hard on building his savings back up. Before his late wife passed away, he basically wiped out his cash savings, had to cash out his 401k, and even took a small mortgage on his house to cover medical costs as well as life expenses since he had to cut back on working. Eventually, he had to drop that job for a more flexible but lower paying one. So this 10k is actually really generous from him. And then Rob went to run an errand, and it was just me and the kids. Madison then asked me if I was going to give an addition to what my dad is giving. I told her we were in marital unit, and that is what we discussed together as a reasonable amount to contribute. She then said, I should have known. Obviously you married an older man for what he had, not for what you could give. I knew she didn't like me, but this is the most flat-out rude thing she has ever said. I kinda lost it and said, excuse me, who do you think has been paying the second mortgage your dad took out to pay his debts? Truth of the matter is that I make more than her father by a large margin. I have no debt and have been paying 70% of the household bills the whole time we've been married. The 10k we're giving her is available because I've been able to subsidize her father's living expenses for the last few years. I made it clear that not only am I not a gold digger, I'm literally wealthier than my older husband. She called me stuck up after this and stormed out. Then she called her dad later and said that I had told her that I had blamed her mother for being sick for her not being able to have a better wedding budget. I told him what happened and he was mad at her, but also that I shouldn't have shared his financial details with his kids. And that is the end of that. But before we get to the comments, I'm going to give my own opinion. OP, you are not the A, but I have to say, the father is an A. How are the kids almost 30, both of them, and they don't understand the finances problem? I mean, I understand not wanting to talk about it, but you're just trying to hide it? Like, that is stupid. But can I also just say, how rich is it that Madison is calling OP a gold digger, even though she is asking for more than $10,000 for a wedding, of all things? And after OP then points out that, no, I'm actually not a gold digger, but I'm actually literally wealthier than my older husband, she then calls OP stuck up. What? Projecting much? Someone tell me down in the comments, is that not projecting? That is insane. She calls OP a gold digger, which Madison is clearly the gold digger in this scenario because she's just asking for more money on top of that $10,000, which is already an insane amount of money for a wedding, in my opinion. And then, after calling her a stuck-up, she then storms out. That has to be the most stuck-up type attitude, to storm out on an argument. Or, sorry, maybe not even stuck-up, maybe just a childish act, which, I mean, stuck-up is childish act in and of itself, so she is what she is calling OP. Alright, continuing on to the comments. Not the A, but you have to know that you're either stuck up or a gold digger to a child, even an adult one, who has determined to make you a wicked stepmother. That is exactly why I thought I needed to tell her the truth. Just tired of that trope. She is old enough to hear it, and this is also a practical step. It is important that she and her sibling understand his financial standing. Not to be a downer, but eventually if he passes, hopefully not for a long time, you don't want to be facing accusations that you've robbed an inheritance. That is such a good point. My parents have discussed our finances and what if we were gone tomorrow plans with me since I was 16. Their dad should have already discussed this with his adult kids, not necessarily with the same transparency my parents do, but at least the basics like can kids expect an inheritance or will dad need financial help in old age? He shouldn't wait for big life events to have this talk. This should have been discussed even before OP came into the picture. You know, I would gladly do it over again to support your mother through her illness, but please be aware that any money we have saved for your future, such as weddings, etc., is pretty much gone due to medical bills and funeral costs. I'll help as much as I can, but please don't have high expectations as most of my extra money is going to be needed to go towards rebuilding my retirement. And I could not agree more. The whole entire finances thing should have been discussed a lot earlier before OP even came into the picture. Like, I understand grieving and not wanting to talk about more pressing matters like finances, but that is something you should say. Absolutely. Alright, continuing on. Now, before we continue on, I just want to ask that if you are enjoying this so far, that you consider recommending this channel to friends and family, or just people you know, because the help for this channel is greatly appreciated. So, to continue on... And now for the last Reddit post, which comes from Fresh Cucumber. Now, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, I am not a huge fan of the title of this post, but you know what, we'll see if my opinion of not liking it changes through reading it. So, to continue on, I am a single mother of 2 kids. I am a single mother by choice, my kids are donor conceived. I am lucky enough to have a good job, French teacher in a private school, and a paid-off house, parents' life insurance, and inheritance. Before I had either of my kids, I made sure to have a year's living expenses saved. Then I would take a sabbatical to recover from birth as well as bond with my kids. While on sabbatical, I still tutor some kids for some extra income. My friend just had a baby 2 months ago. She is the breadwinner of her household, and her husband has been unemployed since he was laid off during blank. It was great to be pregnant at the same time, as well as having a friend with a newborn. But it has turned sour. She has been saying how jealous she is of me being able to take off a whole year from work, and how she would have loved to not worry about losing their home, and how she doesn't even have a couple $100 in her savings account, let alone a whole year's worth of living expenses. And I usually ignore it, or just brush it off, because I can understand the stress she is under. But, well, starting about 10 days ago, she started hinting at not being able to afford daycare, and any mention of her husband taking care of their kids is brushed off. Then she started remarking on how much free time I must have, which I deflected by saying, truthfully, that being a single mother to a baby and a small kid left me no free time actually. Then, last night, she came out with it and asked if I could do her a favor and watch her kid while she's at work. I was firm but polite when I said that I could not, that I'm not capable of watching 2 kids under 6 months. And she almost started begging me, saying she can't afford daycare and if she's not back at work she will lose her job and that they will end up homeless. I again brought up her husband and she said that he is not good with kids and isn't capable of taking care of her kid. I kept saying no. She kept pushing until it escalated to her calling me heartless and me telling her that it is not my problem she chose to have a kid with a useless man. And now she's blocked me. I'm feeling very guilty about what I said and feeling like an a-hole. Well, good news, OP, you are actually not an a-hole. You said no, and she just kept on pushing. And at that rate, if the husband is not capable of taking care of a kid, what is he capable of? He's not making money. He's not taking care of the kid. What is he doing? Like, the dude is a straight up freeloader. And OP is absolutely right by calling, well, I wouldn't say useless. I'd just say, codependent man. With a codependent man. I think that is the right term here. You know what? After doing some Googling, I think that is actually the wrong word. But I don't know if I'd exactly call him useless. I'd just say he's a bum. That's it. Just a bum. Not useless, just a bum. And I don't know why she had a kid with him. Wait. She had a kid with the dude who she says isn't capable of taking care of a kid. What? How did you have a kid with someone who said that? How do you... Wait, am I insane? How do you do that? You actively said, I want a child with someone who can't take care of a child. What is that math? What is that math? Someone tell me that. What is that? You had a child with someone who you do not trust to take care of a kid who is making no money. They're not being a parent in any way, shape, or form, and yet you're like, that guy right there, that's who I want to have a kid with. Like, what? Okay, anywho, yeah, no, OP, once again, not the A. Continue on with living life, you know? You seem to be having a strong head on your shoulders, and continue on. Now, before I end this off, I just want to make it known that I have a Patreon where I'll be posting 3 videos a day, and just to cover the bases, I'll have you know that the 2 videos a day is still going on. But if you want to support me and get a little more content, then you can go over there for the low price of $1. And, as always, the support is really appreciated and will in turn be used to make better and better content as the days go on. But, enough of that. That is about it for those stories today, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to become a fellow breadbag. Though, aside from that, I post 2 new videos every day on YouTube, so I hope to see you next time toasting session. But until then, have a good one.